Welcome to the Rewards Master. Today, I'm going to take you on a journey to examine the Centurion Lounge from American Express in the C Terminal of Denver International Airport. Recently, I was on a layover through there, had to kill some time, and I could have went over to the Capital One Lounge. I still have access for a short time longer to the Capital One Lounge, but I was flying on United. I don't have access to United clubs, so I also couldn't get into my American lounges or Delta lounges. So the best option for me seemed to be to go over to the C Concourse and try out the Centurion Lounge. So if you would hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll walk you through the lounge. Normally when I fly through Denver, since I'm not a regular flyer with United, even though I do fly them on occasion, and I don't have access to their lounges any longer, what I often will do is I will go to Sweetwater Tap House, which is a restaurant in the B Concourse, and that's where most of the United flights come in and out of. And at that restaurant, I have priority pass restaurants on my City Prestige card, and so I usually just get a nice meal there. I get $28 per person, as is common with the restaurant perk if you have that on your priority pass. But that restaurant is going through renovations, and it wasn't available. So I started looking around on the Loungepedia app, which I recommend. It used to be Lounge Buddy when American Express owned it, but now it's changed. I don't know if some independent folks are running it or what, but it's very helpful to find different lounges in different airports. So I was looking on there, and I saw I could have went over to the Capital One Lounge, and that I didn't really want to do that. I went through DFW coming out, and I'd gone to the lounge there. So I thought I'll try out the Centurion Lounges. So I made my way on the train over to the C Concourse and found the Centurion Lounge. Now, as is true with almost every Centurion Lounge, the decor when you're going in and the friendliness of the staff as you're turning over your platinum card, in my case, business platinum, and your ID to allow you into the lounge, they were very, very courteous, very kind, and I went into the lounge. Now, the lounge is kind of like a big U. You can go around one side and then come back to the same place, so it's a big circle. And in that, it has a lot of different things to offer. The first is in regard to food. It has a big buffet section. And I was there at breakfast time, and the breakfast included eggs and included sausage and bacon and just kind of all the typical American fare you'd expect with a buffet in a lounge. It was very well done. The food was good, as is most of the time very true with American Express Centurion Lounges. There also was a second kind of buffet, which was really a bagel station. But it had bagels, it had salmon lox, it had cream cheese of all different kinds. It just had a lot of different options, which I thought was kind of a neat extra feature. Now, as far as seating goes, there was a lot of seating options. It's kind of in the middle of the airport, so you're not going to really be able to plane watch from the Centurion Lounge. But you have quite a few different seating options of different sorts. You know, you have your typical tables, and then you have more of your loungers that are more comfortable. And then there's two bar areas. There's a typical kind of your traditional bar area, and then there's one that I think they called it a craft beer. I mean, I'm not a craft beer person, but I think they called it a craft beer bar over near the bagel buffet. So there's all of those different options for folks. The restrooms were easily accessible, and they were pretty sizable, so you can move people in and out of there fairly well. So when it comes to Centurion Lounges, I think that the Denver Lounge is pretty much par for the course. It's very similar to its sister lounges around the United States. I mean, good decor, really good food. This one wasn't very crowded in comparison. Now, many seats were taken, but it wasn't crowded compared to many Centurion Lounges, and there wasn't any semblance of a line that you had to wait in, which was kind of a nice change of pace because Centurion Lounges can be very, very, very busy much of the time in many airports. Now, I will say it was somewhat inconvenient. If you're flying United, then you got to move. And that's what many people are flying going through Denver because that's one of their hubs. But you got to take the train, and it probably takes you about 15 minutes to get over there. So keep that in mind as you're traveling through Denver. I will say also, regarding access to Centurion Lounges, there are a number of ways to get into those lounges. If you're flying Delta, if you hold the Delta Reserve card, then you can access Centurion Lounges as long as you have a boarding pass for an upcoming Delta flight. Also, if you hold the American Express Platinum card, the personal Platinum card, that gives you access to Centurion Lounges. And also if you have, and this is how I got in, if you have the American Express Business Platinum card, that also gives you access to Centurion Lounges. Now, with none of these options are you going to be able to bring in free guests. So keep that in mind. You'd have to pay for guests. So I'm not going to do that. I just kind of have a personal aversion to paying for guests at lounges. If I'm flying with a guest, usually we go into the American Club and I get free access for my guests there, or a priority pass lounge. But that's how you can get into this lounge. It's a good option in Denver. I'd never been to it before. Usually I went to Capital One, and years ago when I'd go through there, I had access to the United Clubs and I'd go to them. So let me know what you think about the Centurion Lounge at Denver versus many of their other lounges throughout the United States. Have you found it to be less crowded? Have you found it to be to the same standards? I'd love to know. Put that in the comments below. If you would consider my channel membership, $2.99 a month. You can cancel anytime. I do early release videos. I also have special members only videos. Also, in the description down below, I have links to many different credit cards. If you use any of those links, it helps support the channel at no cost to you, and I receive a small referral bonus. Also, I have a link to my Amazon shop where I have all my camera equipment that I use, like this DJI Pocket 3 camera I'm using right now. You can check that out as well. Thank you for being here. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you here next time.